Hey there, so today I want to return with an article that I found to be quite disturbing, and this is the censoring of Bounding Into Comics. Now, Bounding Into Comics, if you don't know who they are essentially a place that not only covers comic book, but entertainment news and more. They cover it from a side that most people won't touch either. They cover the unheard voices out there. You know, when conservatives are attacked, they talk about that. When there are people under attack by companies and conglomerates and on, they talk about it. They've talked about everything from, say, Comicsgate to I Stand with Vic. They actually cover these kind of things, and they don't cover it from a, hey, let's bury those guys out there, because they want good products, they want professionalism, and they want due process. No, they actually give a platform. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to agree with them, but them being around, them actually being able to cover this, and them being able to reach a large audience, yeah, that's important. But now we're looking, of course, at Facebook. Now, Facebook has been scrubbing people for wrongthink, especially recently. You know, personally, you can talk about the reasons why. I have my own opinions why, as a political platform there. But again, you can come up with your own reasons why. This, however, it is absolutely insane to think that they had an outlet where they could reach 250,000 people, and now, poof, that's gone. Now, before we cover this article, and you can cover entire articles from them, that's one thing that I actually like about Bounding Into Comics too. They are not pro-censorship. I mean, you go out and you look up articles about deplatforming, you know, from places like Motherboard, for example. They'll brag about how they like deplatforming because it works. They'll put qualifiers in front of it and they'll try to shut people down. You have Bounding Into Comics. They don't try to do that, so I like it. But before we do cover this, if you do like this kind of content, if you say to yourself, that umbrella guy, I love what you do. I love your channel. Well, first of all, thank you. I do appreciate you. Second of all, make sure that you check out everything about the channel. Make sure that you go, you sub, you hit that bell for daily notifications. And if you want to go further, and you're under no obligation to do so, but if you want to go further, if you love this channel and want to help out, there are links in the description. One of those is the case of the Littlest Umbrella. Now, this has been quite successful. Think to people like you. It's crawling down into its last hours. You know, it has 45 hours left here, and it's been one heck of a ride here. Now, the gatekeepers that we run across, they have, of course, tried to silence and tried to censor, just like they do with everything. But communities, they make these things work. The problem that you run into is what if? What if the very platforms that things are on, what if they try to remove things? See, that's the scariest part of that. What if the platforms themselves turn on you? And that's what we're seeing with Facebook. That's what we're seeing with places like Twitter. We see it all over social media. Now, I'll talk more about this and the two comics that are attached to it, Stretch Goals and on, at the end of the video. But I wanted to link that in because what we do these days is we try to provide alternatives to gatekeeping. And that's why things like this are so insidious because, yeah, I mean, you're talking about not only the removal, but when they try to fix these issues, well, after Facebook finds out who they are, they just go silent on it. You know, mum's the word. So anyway, starting this out, Facebook has censored Bounding Into Comics and completely removed 250,000 plus strong Facebook page. Here's what the page looks like on Facebook. You can see the broken icon. Of course, that's pretty much par for the course. Facebook did not provide any warnings and didn't really explain why the page was removed. The page was removed on Monday around 10:20 a.m. Eastern, shortly after we published the new Spider-Man Far From Home trailer. Now, I want to note that, of course, that's not attached to it. You can see that this, what they're talking about here, they're talking about an article there, and you are allowed to embed any type of video from YouTube and on. That is not a violation of Facebook's rules. I want to make sure that I clarify that. Continuing here, I was logged out of my personal Facebook account, which I used to manage the Bounding Into Comics Facebook page. Upon logging back in, I received a number of alerts from Facebook indicating that they had removed content which ultimately meant they had removed not just the content post, but all traces of Bounding Into Comics' Facebook page. The first alert indicated Bounding Into Comics was being removed because it violated, quote-unquote, the Facebook statements of rights and responsibilities. Now, pay attention to what happens through all of this. Basically, you're going to go on a ride with a little circle jerk here. You're going to circle the wagons with warnings and on that basically they lead nowhere. This, it says something. It says either they were deplatformed by Facebook, which is very, very likely, or somebody decided to flag them and basically they were removed because of that. Again, I think the first is probably much more likely because of what we have seen lately. So continuing on here. The next alert reads, our policies prohibit posting content that infringes or violates someone else's rights or otherwise violates the law. So you can see how that was put up. Other alerts continue. If you want to post content that infringes or violates others' rights, or otherwise violates the law, you could be temporarily blocked from posting content on Facebook or even have your account permanently banned. Okay, so there's you a warning. Now watch, like I said, how it loops back into itself. The next alert then directed us to review Facebook's intellectual property policies. It read, if you have any questions regarding the removal of content, please visit the Help Center. To help keep your account in good standing, remove any other content you've posted to Facebook that may infringe on otherwise violate others' rights. To learn more about intellectual property, visit the Help Center. So you get that tab in. Two of the messages then repeated. Like I said, welcome to the circle jerk, where you roll around in the mud and you roll around in the mud and you never ever get anywhere. The next alert read, our policies prohibit posting content that infringes or violates someone else's rights or otherwise violates the law. So the final message read, if you continue to post content that infringes or violates others' rights or otherwise violates the law, you could be temporarily blocked from posting content on Facebook or even have your account permanently disabled. So you get on that. As you can see, Facebook did not provide us with any concrete examples of the alleged violation. In fact, the reason why we are writing this article today instead of yesterday is because we attempted to reach out to Facebook, believing the removal of our page was inadvertent. However, Facebook has not responded to any of our Help Center inquiries. They stopped responding in an email thread with a publisher and media support team representative once the page was identified. This statement right here, that says quite a bit. It says very little as far as content, but the context there, it says quite a bit. Oh, we see who you are there. We need to check out on this. We need to stop talking about it. Maybe I wonder behind the scenes, looking someone up. Yeah, maybe they really, they can see exactly who that is. Most places that you are around there, they actually keep notes on why things are removed. So if you're talking about some kind of censorship policy, if you're talking about the removal because, that definitely would be a thing. Now, given the recent reports of Facebook and Twitter removing pages that do not align with their views, I think it's safe to assume that Facebook is likely targeting Bounding Into Comics due to the nature of the content we cover and post. Now, this too is not the first time that Bounding Into Comics has been targeted. That's something that I think it really should come to the forefront of this. When they were covering comics and the behavior of comic professionals, they actually had one of the comic companies, the biggest one out there, Marvel, removed their comps. Marvel basically will provide digital copies of comic books. Well, when you're talking about the bad behavior of their pros, they won't, telling you exactly what type of atmosphere they produce. If you're not going to let us basically walk all over anyone, if you're going to talk about what's going on and, well, God forbid, people complaining about professionalism, we're going to shut you down. We're going to shut you down, and we're going to do it openly, and we're going to do it with impunity. Welcome to comic books. comics. But continuing on, Bounding into Comics contributors are not afraid to offer a critical look at the current entertainment culture as it pertains to the comic book industry, Hollywood, and video games. We are on the front line of highlighting the behavior of a number of executives in these companies, whether it's Marvel's Sana Amanat, who unabashedly stated that Mexicans, Jews, Muslims, women, Native American, the environment, science, and kids are all things the Republicans hate. They also, this stuff that they're talking about with IDW here, this actually forced change. You had an IDW executive that came in and started talking about how Donald Trump supporters, they deserve the guillotine. Now, whether or not you support a guy politically, your company should not be tied to that kind of conversation. Oh, you vote the wrong way? Well, all of you deserve to lose your heads. By the way, why don't you continue supporting our products? That stuff, it went offline, and from what I hear, there was a very interesting conversation behind the scenes in the aftermath. Yeah, there was a lot of panic, and, well, IDW, look at the particular trash fire glow that they've had after that. They covered the mess with Battlefield 5, that was a particularly egregious mess for sure, and so on. They talk about, how they covered celebrity culture and how that pertains to voting. They've also covered censorship policies, including Louis Farrakhan, Alex Jones, Milo, Laura Loomer, and Paul Joseph Watson. So they've talked about all of this stuff. They've actually discussed so many things out there, and I think that they're being targeted for it. As they say, too, social media companies like Facebook can delete and ban pages on a whim without any recourse, wiping out years of hard work and countless fan connections. However, they can't censor our email, so, you can go through that. But still, when you think about that idea, that is absolutely insane, too. You have built something over years. You have struggled to basically gain traction in that. And because of current political whims, boom, that's gone. That conversation is over. This is a troubling conversation that we're having, one that should bother anyone, because what we're looking at here, this isn't even camouflaged. We are talking about the out and out removal of people because they express wrong thing. And then it doesn't matter what climate that's in. That is wrong. But anyhow, you tell me what you think on this stuff. So like I said at the beginning, if you like this kind of content, make sure you're subbed, make sure you hit that bell for daily notifications. And if you want to go further, and again, you're under no obligation to do so, I simply appreciate you showing up. As a community, I appreciate the fact that we can talk about this stuff and we can talk about what is troubling out there and try to remedy that. But if you do want to go further and you want to help out the channel, there are links in the description. One of those is this, my first try at a comic book. And I have to say, over the last month, it has been a month now, this has been absolutely crazy. Mass flagging attempts, the mess with going after family that was dismissed by the same crazies that go insane if you don't add qualifiers to their names. You have people out there that have tried to go after artists involved in it. It is absolutely insane. But that's the thing about gatekeeping. Gatekeeping makes people think they can operate with impunity. This is an all ages Lovecraftian tale too. You're talking about something that everyone can enjoy. That's the real kicker to it as well. Going after something to silence it, not because of content, because it's not a content issue. No, it's because of the person putting out the content. Now, there are 2 books involved in this, and I really think that the second book is something that these folks really do not want to exist. The Case of the Goody Bird. This is a satirical approach to the whole idea of what happened with Comicsgate. This is something that you and I can laugh about. There are a few people in there that, again, they get the satirical jab, but really it's about celebrating the people that are involved, about having fun there, because there's been a lot of stuff that went on. We're going to do that too, I think, since this has been quite good. It's actually done pretty well. We're going to do that with AnimeGate or Weeb Wars, just again to give the thumbs up to people that we enjoy, because yeah, I mean, that's what you do. You actually say, we support people. On that, too, leave comments about what you saw here. Agree, disagree, it doesn't matter. I mean, what do you think about what's going on with the censorship of platforms? Go and look up the idea of deplatforming, too. Go and look that up and see what Motherboard or what the new Gatekeepers or all these other places out there, what they actually think. You won't be shocked by what they think, but look at the society they're rolling to. I want to end, too, by saying that I appreciate you. I appreciate you showing up. You make endeavors possible. All of these other people out there, that represent some kind of mainstream current climate, of course they're panicking and they're trying to shut things down because you have the power to realize any endeavor that you want. That's the beauty of this thing. You don't have to march lockstep. You don't have to give your money or your time or your energy to anyone. So I appreciate you providing it here. I want to thank you for doing that. And, well, we'll do this again soon. Thank you.